And speaking of the Patriots, how about a Patriots Hall of Famer, Drew Bledsoe, joining us here on Jones and Keefe. How we doing, Drew?
Hey, good morning, fellas. What's happening?
Oh, not too much. Just getting ready for week one for the Patriots, reacting to last night's opener. Drew Bledsoe, brought to us by FanDuel. They have some cool stuff going on. So we'll get his thoughts on that and what's available to FanDuel users out there if you want to sign up in a moment. I'm curious, though, Drew, your thoughts on the Patriots and their handling of a young quarterback. You were thrown into the fire your rookie year. You played. You got hurt. You came back. The team picked up steam late in 93. You carried that momentum into 94. How do you think the Patriots are handling Drake Maye and his transition to the NFL?
Yeah, obviously I'm not there at practice, right? So this is just philosophical. But philosophically, I like what they're doing, and partly, it's largely because of Jacoby Brissett. I mean, this guy's a veteran quarterback. He's played well for a long time, and I know he's going to be a great mentor for Drake. But you also help him win games in the short term. And then philosophically, look, I was thrown right in there. I felt like I was ready for it. Obviously, Parcells felt like I was ready for it. But, there's also a benefit to sitting and watching. I didn't learn that until I got hurt my rookie year. I get to sit and watch 3 games. And by just standing on the sidelines and watching for 3 games, it seemed like that slowed the whole thing down a little bit. So philosophically, I agree with this. And I also think that Jacoby's an outstanding quarterback, and he may help them win some games in the near term, while they're getting Drake ready.
What are your memories from your NFL debut? Because I went back and looked this up. You, week 1, were taking on Bruce Smith and the defending AFC champion Buffalo Bills and all their talent on defense. What was that like going into a game against that incredible team?
It was terrifying. I mean, I'm standing out there. I'm out there playing catch, warming up, and here comes Bruce Smith walking down the tunnel. And 5 months earlier, I'd watched these guys in the Super Bowl from my dorm room in Pullman, Washington. And so I'm like, I don't belong here. This just didn't feel right. And then Jim Kelly, one of my heroes, comes running out of the tunnel, and he was at least nice enough to run by and pat me on the butt and say, "Hey, good luck, Rook." I was like, "Oh, well, thank you, Mr. Kelly." It's like I wanted his autograph at that point. But it was head spinning. But then, like you hear people talk about this all the time, but then at some point you figure out, okay, we're playing football and I know how to do this. But it was, the pregame part of it was absolutely terrifying.
When was the moment? Maybe it was your rookie year where you looked around and you said, okay, I don't necessarily have that self-doubt anymore, what you were just saying. Now I'm a football player. I'm here. I can do it. I've done it my whole life. When was that moment?
There were a few moments, but one happened in that game. It was Bruce Armstrong, our Hall of Fame left tackle, had just come back off of a devastating knee injury. And Bruce Smith got the best of him, beat him inside, and he put one of those hits on me that, used to be legal. Today he would have been thrown out of the league for what he did with his helmet right in the middle of my shoulder blades. But he put that hit on me, and then I popped back up and kept playing. I was like, okay, cool. This is the baddest dude on the planet, but he didn't kill me, so I guess I can keep playing.
I know we're going back a few months now, but what's the reaction been like since the Tom Brady roast and even since the dynasty? Because it seems like all of a sudden, Drew, there was this time, and now that, Brady's career is over, we're looking back on it a lot more. And back-to-back, as Patriots fans, we got a chance to see you a lot. I think you were really one of the highlights of the Dynasty documentary, which not a lot of fans loved overall, but we enjoyed the parts that you were in. And then the roast, which seemed like an absolute blast and sort of a cool experience, I'm sure, for a lot of players and ex-players that don't get a chance to do that stuff normally. But what has that response been like following those two things?
It's been pretty crazy. The Dynasty piece, I think that was more, when I would come back to New England, people would mention it and talk about it. And there was, I'm not sure that the rest of the country, watched it as much. And if they did, it was because they wanted to see the bad parts that the Patriots fans hated. But the roast was kind of a phenomenon. It just seemed like, people out of the woodwork, walking through the airport, or some dude riding by on his bicycle or whatever. The number of people that watched that was pretty astounding. And then the other thing that I thought was pretty cool coming out of the roast was that, look, I thought I was kind of pushing it a little bit, and it turns out I was totally PG compared to what everybody else was doing. It was all of a sudden it was okay to laugh at stuff again. It seemed like for such a long period of time, if you went and made a joke that was over the line, all of a sudden you were canceled. And instead, like, coming out of this, like, oh, okay, we can laugh at this stuff again. And I think that's, for me personally, I think that's important. We got to be able to, you got to be able to laugh at the hard stuff. You got to be able to laugh at the difficult stuff. It's like it's a great way it's a great therapy. And I just was so happy that coming out of that, nobody got canceled for, making a bad joke.
No, it seemed like unanimously it was loved. And I'm curious, like, the lead up that night and then maybe a little bit after, what was it like kind of working with those comedians? You have people from two different worlds. You had sort of one half of the stage with these great players, and the other half you have these great comedians, and then everybody kind of coming together and roasting each other throughout the night. But how was that?
It was really fun. There was the comedians across the board were incredibly kind people. We got to hang out with them more, afterwards. We did the after party, and then we went to the comedy store late night and watched Dave Chappelle come on about 2 a.m.
Oh, nice.
That's why I had to do the Dan Patrick show the next morning at 7 a.m. I was about as fuzzy as I've ever been. I don't think we got in bed. I don't think we got in bed till about 4:30 in the morning, But they're all just incredibly kind, and Nikki Glazer, who is just a trained killer on stage, is like one of the kindest people you could ever meet. It's just so weird. I told her she's like a Bond villain. She's just this pretty, super sweet lady that then is an absolute trained killer when she takes the stage. It was pretty cool.
So it's similar to Bill Belichick in some ways, Drew. He for years shunned the media, spit at the media. Now he's not only transitioning to the media, but he's also on social media. I don't know if you saw this. He's on Instagram now. You have any thoughts on Bill and his second career, if you will?
I'm happy for him. If he's happy doing this, I'm happy for him. He's been all football all the time. Working incredible hours for really his entire life. And if he's able to make that switch and enjoy some free time and enjoy doing some of these things that football coaches miss out on for their whole career, then I'm really happy for him. I will be curious though, because we've all seen some of these coaches that like Sean Payton. I thought he was done forever and just going to ride off into the sunset. Next thing you know, he's back coaching. So it's in their blood. So I'll be very curious to see after a year whether he's able to settle into that lifestyle and just enjoy himself, or whether he's going to have to go back in and start coaching.
Well, I was just going to ask you, what do you think?
Yeah, it's a great question. I'll be curious to see, and I'll bet I'm guessing that Bill doesn't know right now. So he's got to get in and do it for a year and see if he can turn off that coach switch. Or if he's just got to get back in there. So my guess is he probably doesn't know what that means yet. But I'm hopeful for him if he can do that and just kind of chill out and relax a little bit. I mean, obviously it's still work to do TV, but that's a few hours a day, not 100 hours a week.
What are your expectations for Brady in the booth?
I think he's going to do well. He's going to prepare. He's going to do what Tom does. He's going to work it to death. Obviously he knows his football. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a little bit of a learning curve, because there's a rhythm to it, right? It's not just knowledge. It's almost like you're in a two-man band, and you got to learn to play together and make music rather than just dispensing knowledge. So there'll be a learning curve, for them, certainly. But I know that they probably at this point have called 50 games together, privately for practice. So I know he'll do a great job at it. He'll put in the work and make himself great at it.
Patriots Hall of Famer Drew Bledsoe. He's brought to you by FanDuel, America's only sports book to partner with YouTube and roll out a new NFL Sunday ticket offer for fans who want to catch more action at kickoff. FanDuel customers who bet $5, that's it, will receive a 3-week free trial for the NFL Sunday ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV, which allows fans to watch and wager on their favorite teams around the league. YouTube is the home of the NFL Sunday ticket, which gives fans access to live out-of-market Sunday afternoon games throughout the NFL season. And those new customers, again, bet the $5. You get the 3 weeks for a free trial. Drew, how'd you get involved with FanDuel, and why are you working with them?
Yeah, they reached out to me, and I've stayed away, honestly, from the gaming space. Look, we have a winery, so we're already invested in one vice. I felt like I should not embrace another vice, but they really are. They're serious about promoting responsible gaming. This is supposed to be entertainment, rather than they don't want people out gambling real dollars that are going to affect their lives. And so, that's part of the reason that I'm with them, is to share that message. Like, hey, bet on your favorite team, but bet something that's an entertainment type dollar, not something that's going to matter to your family. But it's a pretty cool deal. I mean, you bet $5 and you get 3 weeks of Sunday ticket on YouTube and YouTube TV. I've been super happy with the move over to YouTube TV for Sunday ticket. It seems like it works pretty seamlessly. Plus, I think if it's your first time jumping on the app, I think your first $5 you get like $200 bonus cash from FanDuel. So pretty good deal. And but I'm happy with the partnership with them, mostly because they're trying to be responsible with what they're doing.
New customers, as you said, you bet $5 for the first time. You also receive $200 in bonus bets. For more information, visit FanDuel.com/YouTube. Drew, we appreciate the time. Thank you so much, and don't be a stranger.
All right, I appreciate it, and good luck to the Pats this week. Let's start turning this thing around, man. I'm excited to see it.
Okay, sounds good.
All right,
thank you, Drew.
See you guys.
Drew Bledsoe joining us here, presented by FanDuel and NFL Sunday Ticket. Good package there. If you spend $5 on FanDuel,
pretty good.
You get the 3 weeks. If you're a new user, you also get the $200 in bonus bets.